Good evening, Didier. So even if it's a bit difficult because we've got fatigue, we've got lots of training sessions, are you going to be using the PSG players for the game tomorrow, for this important game, the semi-final, and maybe using the momentum that they've got from the Champions League final? They're here with us, so yeah, I'm counting on them. I don't know how things will go. I found them very happy on Monday evening, obviously. That some of them were tired, yes. But Benjamin and Marcus, obviously, from the Inter side of things, it wasn't the same emotions, the same kettle of fish. They had also been through a Champions League final, but the outcome was different for them. But the game is to be played tomorrow, and through the different conversations that I may have, we don't know, even in their head, obviously, when you've got a peak that is so high, you need to come down, but when you've come down, I need them to get back up again. The game is tomorrow. We had a session yesterday. We're going to have another small training session today. And then tomorrow, we're up against Spain. We knew that this was on the program for us, and that's great for them. It's very positive for them, obviously. But we're doing everything we can for things to go as best as possible, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. I will analyze the situation, and we're in it for the win, but the Champions League final was obviously something very positive. Didier over here, I'm from L'Equipe. Ibrahima Konate was very categorical in saying that Ousmane Dembélé should have the Ballon d'Or this season. Is this something that you also want to take a stance on, and do you want to do this before or after the Club World Cups? So if you're asking if I think that Ousmane should win it, obviously yes, he's a French player. He's had a phenomenal season. From a media point of view, maybe you like speculating, but it's not what's important for me today. Maybe that the Nations League will give us the answers that you're looking at. The Club World Cup as well, maybe will give us a little bit more information. People keep asking me this question. I'm not going to talk about Lamine Yamal today either. Because if it were up to me to decide, it would be Ousmane 100%. But I imagine if you ask the Spanish team who they think should win the Ballon d'Or, they're not going to tell you the same thing as I am. Yes, he is. He may not. But across the season, I think that Ousmane, with the season that he's having, yeah, he definitely deserves it. And I wish him this.
To ask you about a footballer, Desiree Doué, I think it's maybe the French player could be the best player in the world right now. They don't speak about him that much, but it could be.
Same thing here. Lamine Yamal, he's in Barcelona with the season that he's having. He's very young as well. He's actually younger than Desiree Doué, who's now at PSG, come to PSG at the beginning of the season. The season was maybe a little bit more difficult for him at the beginning, but it's been a wonderful season for him. And then the cherry on the cake came with the Champions League. Didier is someone I know well, and I imagine from a footballing point of view, you've also seen what he's capable of on the pitch. He's got all his ducks in a row, and if he's been able to pull off what he's done this season, it's good for him. And you have lots of young players on the Spanish side as well. They're coming to the national team. It's not just about young players, but if we look at what Didier has done at the end of the season, especially with the Champions League final, yeah, kudos to him. Hi Didier, over here Emmanuel for AFP. There are 3 defenders missing if we compare this game to the Croatian game, which is a very good game for the French national team. Do you think that your defense is weakened because you're coming up against one of the best teams in the world? It's factual. I'm not going to say this because I'm counting on the defenders that I have tomorrow. But yeah, ideally speaking, I would want everyone to be available. And the three that you did mention, they were capped for, and I think they've been my back line for the past 2 years, but they're injured, which means that we're going to be giving playing time to someone else. When you're coming up against Spain and the Spanish forwards, obviously it's not ideal, but I've got 25 players with me, and they know exactly what my expectations are for tomorrow. Good evening, Didier. Stéphane Jean-Kiv from the Parisien. A year ago, maybe a little under a year ago, you came up against the Spanish national team. What is your take on the season of your captain? And what is different if we compare the Kylian Mbappé that we saw in Munich last year and the one that we're finding in Stuttgart this year against Spain? With his injury could have been definitive last time. He was out of a couple of games for the Euros, but I think that you've followed his season as much as I have. I think he's got good potential, football potential, physical potential, and probably better than he was last year. I'm from RTL, so we've got a good lineup. Very often you've got fans that come with you. Tomorrow there's 16,000. How do you feel? Yeah, it's good. It's good. It means that we've got a lot of supporters. And I'm not going to forget the atmosphere that we had in the Stade de France against Croatia. We've got a lot of support that has been there for several years because they want to support the French national team, and we are here to share that with them as well. It's a real source of pride for us, and we're going to do everything that we can to keep this link, to keep this connection. And we're going to be sharing this emotion with everyone. Hi, Didier. Nicolas, Gagnon from the Sud-Ouest, over here. Do you agree that Ousmane Dembélé hasn't had that big performance for the French national team? And do you think that this will be the cherry on the top of his season? I don't know. You can always want more. I think that Ousmane has had a wonderful season. He was a decisive player for the French national team for the last game. Whether you think this is... Obviously, we want him on top of his game tomorrow, but there is always room for improvement. Ousmane is very demanding on himself, but if we compare this season to other seasons, yeah, the bar is very, very high. You've got Thursday and then Sunday, and then no rest for the wicked because he has got the Club World Cup as well, with two very important objectives. Good evening, Didier. What do you think about the semi-final from last year? You obviously went home. They sent you back in the Euros. We can talk about what happened, but are there any remnants of this? And do you think that this maybe it means that you guys are looking for revenge tomorrow? You love the word revenge, but I don't like revenge. It's a semi-final, yes. It's a different stadium, and we've got the possibility to get into the final, but I'm not going to come back. I don't want to talk about the game last year, even though Spain did dominate us last year, especially in their ball control. And I'm not denying that they were superior in some domains last time we came up against them. But I don't think that... I think it was a close call. Maybe your analysis is different to mine. the players might not be different, both on the both on the French and the Spanish sides, but it's up to that there will be a final for both teams. It just depends. It's the big final on Sunday night or not.
Last year in the Euros, Lamine Yamal was motivated by some words by Rabiot. Would you like to repeat that, or would you like him not to be that motivated, perhaps? Can you repeat, please? Last year, Lamine Yamal got really motivated by some words from Rabiot, some criticism from Rabiot. Would you like that to be repeated, or maybe not?
Yeah, there are souvenirs when you've got players that come up one against the other in clubs or for national teams. It's just experience. We don't always just have positive experiences. Sometimes you can have negative experiences, and negative experiences should serve as lessons. You've also got the quality of players that's important, that instinct that they have. If we think about Lamine Yamal, yes. I don't know if someone's going to ask me the question, but he's played against a lot of teams. I haven't seen a single team that's found a solution to eliminate Lamine Yamal. People have been able to slow him down or limit the damage, but he is capable of really changing a game. It will be the same thing tomorrow, but given the scenario, it may not be similar.
Going back to Lamine Yamal, what Adrien Rabiot said is that Lamine had not done enough as a footballer yet. 1 year later, we've seen people like Konate saying that he's an exceptional player and a footballing genius. What has changed with Lamine Yamal? What has changed in this year?
Adrien Rabiot didn't say anything that was on Lamine Yamal. That wasn't. Yes, he's had a great season. He was decisive for Barcelona, but he's not the only one playing for Barcelona either. There were lots of other players that were very decisive as well. Well, he's very highly performing. He's a very young player. He's a young player that has the ability to score goals. So he's part of these players that are able to change games. Hi Didier, I'm from Canal Plus, so I'm not going to talk to you about Lamine Yamal, but I'm just going to ask still what it's going to look like up front for you tomorrow. Are we going, I know that you're not going to share this with us, but for the strategy that worked against Croatia with 4 men up front, we know that balance is important. If you are going to start with Ousmane, is this going to maybe change where you're putting your captain tomorrow? No. No, for the last question, no, I've already told you this. Kylian will be playing centrally. Maybe their slight positioning will be different. Yeah, we did great things against Croatia, but this isn't Croatia, this is Spain. I'm not going to answer your question, but this has been food for thought for me. Also taking into consideration that down the back we don't have our usual defenders. In an ideal situation, when we come up against an opponent such as Spain, we want to be sufficiently solid down the back, but that's not the only thing that counts. And if we don't have option one, if we're only playing to defend, then there's no point us playing a football game. We need to strike that balance between the two, up front and down the back. When we've got the ball, there's no issues, but now we're coming up against an opponent that likes possession and tends to keep possession more than than other teams. So I've got different options. I'm not saying that it's going to be one over the other. It will depend. But just with each game, it's about that power struggle. The first or the primary objective, even though I've said that we'll be strong, is that we need a team that will be capable of making the Spanish team's life difficult. Thank you very much.